Good morning, everyone. The focus on this week will be on revising your writing from the last 2 weeks, your vignettes, using some old literary devices that we've studied before, which are juxtaposition and symbolism, along with some new literary devices that we're going to look at this week, imagery and dialogue. And remember that a literary device is just a tool. It's a tool that writers use to communicate meaning in their writing. If you go to your Power School and you see a green check mark next to your vignettes and your reading responses, that means that I have collected them. If there's a zero, that means that I have not received them yet. So before you even get started on work from this week, please make sure you have sent that to me at my correct email address as soon as possible so that I can give you feedback, which I will be doing today. Um, So, all students this week are going to be expected to revise your writing. Each day, I'm going to go in depth in a video lesson with how I want you to revise your writing in a specific way using one of the devices that we're studying. So, to help yourself in this process, it might be useful to write and revise as if this writing is going to be published. I want to encourage you to take creative risks with your language and your sentence structure, as well as the format of your paragraphs. I want you to think about how Sandra Cisneros uses certain literary devices to communicate a theme, and consider how you can communicate a theme using your own style. Today, we're going to go more in depth with juxtaposition, a term that was first introduced to you last week. If you recall, juxtaposition is when an author takes two or more ideas, characters, actions, settings, phrases, or words side by side in similar narrative moments. It's a technique that's used for the purpose of comparing and contrasting or building suspense or character development. And in the chapter Hips in the House on Mango Street, Cisneros juxtaposes jumping rope with Nene singing these nursery rhymes, which communicates the theme of growing up because the youngest girl, Nene, is getting left behind by the older girls who clearly have more important things to talk about, like boys and nail polish and other secret girl things. I'm going to show you another example of juxtaposition today in a poem written by someone named Pablo Neruda. He was Chilean, and he was a major romantic who wrote probably 100 sonnets to his third wife, Mathilde, who you see in this picture. A sonnet, the one we're going to read today is called Sonnet 17. The sonnet is just a particular style of writing a poem with a certain number of lines and a rhyme scheme that you have to follow. Pablo was actually having an affair with Mathilde when he was still married to his second wife. So it's interesting to read the poem before knowing that, which I didn't realize that until this week, that this love was an affair. The nature of their love, which was hidden for so long, really seeps through in his lines about darkness and secrets and shadows. So I'll go ahead and read that in this video lesson. Okay. This is Sonnet 17 by Pablo Neruda, 1959. I do not love you as if you were salt rose or topaz, or the arrow of carnations the fire shoots off. I love you as certain dark things are to be loved, in secret, between the shadow and the soul. I love you as the plant that never blooms, but carries in itself the light of hidden flowers. Thanks to your love, a certain solid fragrance, risen from the earth, lives darkly in my body. I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. I love you straightforwardly, without complexities or pride. So I love you because I know no other way than this, where I does not exist, nor you, so close that your hand on my chest is my hand, so close that your eyes close as I fall asleep. So, in reading this poem, we see how love can be just all consuming. So much that so that his lover's hand on his chest feels like his own hand, and his eyes close as his lover falls asleep. He also uses plant imagery a lot here. You see a plant that blooms, hidden flowers, the fragrance of the plant. A carnation is a type of plant. Um, he alludes to flowers that bloom, but then says that their love is like a flower that doesn't bloom. It could if it wanted to, but their love has to exist without being showy or ostentatious or boastful because technically it's forbidden love. He's married. Today, I mean, we see images of couples plastered all over social media and the news and the internet. Carefully curated images that make it seem like love is always sexy and loud and in your face and dramatic and luxurious and easy. And Neruda's lines hint that this isn't so, um, and that there's something beautiful in a type of love that doesn't draw attention to itself like that, but is still so powerful that it binds two people together completely. So, for the rest of today, I want you to make sure that first you complete the survey, which is in the Write Research section of today's lesson plan. And then I want you to go to your vignettes Google Doc and find the vignette titled My Name. And I want you to revise this vignette using juxtaposition. How do you do this? Well, just like Cisneros and just like Pablo Neruda, you're going to compare two things. So, thing one is your name, obviously. Thing two is what you're going to compare it with. Many of you looked up the literal definition of your name. So, if your name means warrior or flower, then your thing two is going to be a warrior or a flower. Some of you asked your parents the history of your name, and they told you an interesting or odd story. Maybe you were named after some random baseball player like Tyler was, or a book character, or even a family member. And now that you have your two things, your name and what it's compared to, you're going to want to focus on words that are related to thing two. And three types of words: objects, which are nouns, actions, which are verbs, and feelings or descriptions, which are adjectives. For example, some words that might relate to a flower are blossom, petal, delicate, bloom, sun-kissed, rose, etc. Again, you want to pretend that your piece is going to be published. You want to tell a story to your audience. So, how are you going to do that using your name and juxtaposition? I'll look forward to seeing your revisions this week.